His play. He was behind 2.5 points behind Wei Yi. I think his fantasy was that he would be tied for first going into the last round. Not that he would be a clear point ahead of the field.
I don't know, he came meaning business, you know, and there you see him opening with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. What are we going to see?
Well, here's the d4.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, this is how you shut it down.
This is how you shut it down. This is how you get the draw.
I think we've seen this earlier. I think it was Magnus.
Against Jan-Krzysztof Duda.
Yeah. But I think Magnus was on the black side, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he was on the black side.
Right. And now I think it's bishop g4. Oops, that was... Bishop g4 has been a recent modern wrinkle to this line. c6 takes d5 is the old line, perfectly sound, don't get me wrong, but some players feel that after queen f3, white has a little bit of a pull.
Mm-hmm. And queen f3 played. What do you think? h6?
Yeah.
Bishop takes knight.
H6.
The thing is that I have seen players do this against Magnus with the white pieces.
And Magnus is doing it against his opponent.
Magnus is doing it against Arjun. Knight e2.
So the idea is you've given up the two bishops, but because you've secured a rather nice outpost, you can imagine that whenever this knight, whenever the knight does get to the f5 square, it gets eaten. And then it's bishops of opposite color, and then you can say what you will, the game is going to be drawn. So a very, very good way of shutting down this game. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to move away from the game, but I just want to remind everybody that Wei Yi is only a point behind, and should he win and
Magnus lose, did put his knight on d4.
Gift me the pawn?
The f5 square and
as
attacking
well as c6
pawn.
Yeah, and once black defends the pawn, bishop to d7 or something of that nature, we also do have c3. Whoa.
He's booted that knight away from d4.
Wait a minute. That move I'm not a fan of. There's knight to c6. And if I can play knight to b4, then I've got a serious advantage because the pawn structure for black has really been ruined. Mm-hmm. So what did Arjun have in mind against knight? Another question, a3 even, intriguing move. And he's played a3.
He has gone a3.
Whoa, but knight c6, whoa. How did Magnus not play knight c6? Well, bishop a5, only move?
Mm-hmm.
What is the
And now
move?
b4.
b4. So the idea is if you take on b4, knight c6 in this case is what Magnus has in mind.
Okay, bishop b6 played.
Okay,
and now
we have
you
to take.
capture on c5. And
Takes.
what next?
Well, again, knight f5 shuts things down. I just think the move c5 gives white maybe something to play for. Knight to b3, bishop to b5.
But you want to draw.
I do.
Yeah, you want to draw, is going to get tournament win.
That's why
Go
we saw
put your knight on f5. And after all, black's kingside, I mean, those pawns are terrible. That's like the worst pawn structure there is.
Oh, guess what?
And
with this move h5, Arjun basically says, well, I'm not ready to play bishop takes f5 and hardy hand clasp. I'll keep the game in play. h5, h3.
I like the confidence of Arjun. Arjun is an incredible blitz player.
Wow.
Really, he was a Vars pick for the event, and I've seen Arjun play some phenomenal chess. He's really good with the initiative and dynamics. And there we see g4 played, the rook slid over to the open line.
And supporting the knight,
King to
prepping
g2.
king g2, just kind of getting out of this line of fire here. King to g2, pawn to a. Ooh, Arjun.
Arjun's very brave.
Yeah, I must say,
opening up. Okay, well now he's trying to
shut it down again.
Bail out. Okay, so now you can go king to g2.
Yes, and I would do so right now.
Yes.
I'd also aspire
To
play
that pawn on a light square. Yeah, exactly.
Just to make sure I don't blunder it by playing rook h1 and getting myself excited and going rook h7 and checkmate.
Okay, the rook came down to e2.
Again, I would a4, put the bishop on d3, chase the rook out of, unless you really want to put the rook on d2.
Okay,
Then,
well, the king steps forward, chasing that rook away.
yeah,
And I
not
like
sure
your
I was,
idea of a4.
Yeah, always.
But maybe
just-
he's going to go for rook h1 first.
Yeah, rook h1, rook h8 makes sense.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm not a fan of rook e2, rook e5. I'm not. Why is the rook so good? The rook does not look good on e5 to my eyes, but
There we see
okay.
a4 being played, putting the pawn on the light squares. I like how Magnus is getting ready to overprotect anything. And
Rook h8,
here it comes,
rook
rook h8.
I wouldn't be surprised by
Have the rooks left the buildings?
Yes.
Yes, they have. And now a5.
And now white's just better. Again, it's not that he's going to win it or anything like that, but it's just better. I can play for rook. No, I think I want to play rook to b1. You play bishop b4. How can I sneak in on you? I'm dreaming of putting my rook on b5. Not so
Well.
easy to do. I go rook to b1, you play bishop to b4.
I kind of like the idea of putting the bishop on. Oh, Magnus.
What is he doing?
Rook h. He was just going to go bishop to d3 and say draw, and let's trade off.
It's funny
Bishop.
that he didn't play rook to h7 check first, drive the king back a square or two, and then play rook h5. But rook h5, but go ahead.
Bishop d3.
Bishop to
Bishop
d3.
d3. You got the draw. I mean,
Oh, well, sure.
you
I thought
are
it was a little bit better.
tournament win. That's just details.
Moral victories. We live for these moments.
He can sit there and enjoy the rewards of. Okay, he's played rook h7. I was going to be okay.
Now we're
Now
seeing the draw.
he's got the repetition.
We've got to tip our hat to Magnus Carlsen, our champion.
Our champion, the winner of the Superbet Rapid and Blitz Poland. He's done it again.
Bravo, bravo. Just nothing to say, but just hat tip. I've brought up the game between Vincent and Prague for several reasons. The first and foremost is